Hi everyone, I'm Laura Woodside, the Senior Director of Education at Cricket Media, and it's my pleasure today to be leading our webinar on connecting classrooms around the world. In today's webinar, we're going to address three main questions. First, we're going to talk about the why. Why is it beneficial or even important to connect classrooms on a global scale? Second, we're going to discuss the how. How then do educators go about finding exemplary teachers on a global scale and making matches with their classrooms? And finally, then we're going to talk about the what. What should these classrooms do together once they are connected, once they've made these international connections? So let's begin with the why. One reason many teachers are beginning to seek international cross-classroom collaborations is because they see the demand. They see that demand in state, local, regional, and national standards. Whether you're in the U.S. and it's the P21 framework, the Common Core Standards, C3 Social Studies framework, or ACTFL standards, or their international equivalents, there's now really global recognition that these skills and competencies are critical for students to succeed in work, in life, and in citizenship in the 21st century. So we're going to take a quick closer look at a few of these. First, we all know that we must widen students' perspectives beyond the four walls of their classroom and their hometown. And connecting classrooms through online learning is a real authentic way to build cultural awareness. It's real and it's exciting for students when they get to interact firsthand with other students in other places in different geographical, economical, or social situations. That human connection then becomes real and students naturally begin to value diversity, respect others, and overcome prejudices. Another reason to connect classrooms on a global scale is to develop in our students a sense of belonging to a broader community and a common humanity. As you see on your screen with the suggestions of UNESCO, we as educators need to foster this at many levels. First, at the cognitive level. So help our students acquire knowledge, understanding, and critical thinking about what the issues are, both locally and nationally, and the interconnectedness of different countries and populations. Then at the socio-emotional level, to have that sense of belonging that I was talking about. And then finally, behaviorally. So now what do we do with that information? What do we do with that sense of belonging? How do we act effectively and responsibly at a global level? When students interact with students from another part of the world, that interconnectedness between us all becomes real for them. On this slide, you see the list of the top 10 qualities desired by employers. Note particularly the first three, which all refer to the ability to communicate, collaborate, and problem solve with others. In cross-classroom collaboration, support and encourage these behaviors within a support system that prepares them to thrive in today's digitally interconnected world. So far I've really mentioned the benefits to students, but I would be remiss not to mention also that global cross-classroom collaborations also promote teacher growth. Within these cross-classroom collaborations, teachers benefit for the same reasons already listed, but also from the exchange of practices, knowledge, and expertise with their teaching peers, which adds positive implications for teacher training as well as professional development. So those are a few of the reasons why to do global cross-classroom collaborations. The next thing we really want to explore then is how do we do this? How do we connect classrooms around the world and provide them with meaningful, compelling experiences that build all these competencies we're discussing? So I'm thrilled to be the one that gets to introduce you to the ePals Global Community, which is our free online social learning platform that truly answers the call for connecting classrooms on a global scale. I'm going to take you over now live to our platform and give you a demonstration and a walkthrough of what we have to offer here. So what you're looking at right now is our home screen. And in the tour that I'm going to give you, I'm going to demonstrate our three main functionalities. First, how teachers use our platform to find and connect with each other. Second, how they then use it to communicate with each other. And finally, how they bring their students in to participate in rich cross-classroom collaborations. If you're not currently a member of the ePals Global Community, when you come to epals.com, you simply click on the Sign Up button, and it's a free, quick process for signing up to become a member of our community. What you see here on the main screen is our Find Connection screen. This is where teachers work to find each other and connect. You also see our Explore experiences. This shows what they do together, options for those cross-classroom collaborations once they do connect. So I'm going to start by logging in. I am logging in as a teacher. So everything you see in this tour now will be from the teacher perspective onward. All users, when they log in, they land on their profile page. The profile page is your opportunity as an educator to share information about yourself with the community. So we at ePals have populated this profile page with fields that are really important to educators around the world. You'll see that we have geographical information. We also have information about the teacher's experience and expertise, and then information about their specific school and the class that they're teaching now. So why is this important? This card is really important, this profile card, because this is the face that you as an educator present to the rest of the community. You'll see that we also offer down here a narrative box. That's a blank box that you can complete, and you can tell the community anything you would like to about further information about yourself, about why you're on this global learning platform, about what you're looking for. A couple other things that I want to point out. We do have down here at the bottom the option to enable or disable your own presence in the search. This is a really great feature because what it does is it allows our results to give a much more reliable search return. So teachers who are turned on, who have this box checked, will appear in other teachers' searchers, and you can turn it off when you don't want to be included. So for example, when you go on summer vacation, you can turn yourself off. That way you're not showing up in other people's searches. So when you get those results back, you know that they are indeed teachers who are active on the community, who are willing to connect and eager to connect with you. The other thing to point out up here is that each profile has a status. We have a team of moderators. When you sign up, you'll be completing your profile card, and we have a team of moderators who will review your profile card. That team makes sure that you are indeed a teacher where you say you are a teacher before they approve your profile. Anytime you create a new profile card or you even edit your profile, it goes back to this team to review and approve. And in this way, we make sure that we maintain a really safe and secure community that really is built just of educators interested in global cross-classroom collaborations. You'll also have the opportunity to choose one of our avatars or upload a photo of your own. I'm going to go back now to the main screen, which is the Find Connection screen. You'll notice on the left-hand side of your screen that we have a series of filters. And you'll also probably recognize that this series of filters directly reflects the information that teachers have reported in their profiles. So the information that you report in your profile is what makes you searchable and discoverable to other educators. What you see on the right-hand side of the screen is a population of teachers. Right now it's sorting by latest activities. You can see I just logged on, so I'm right here in the first position. And you can see that these other people are logged on as well. So the way that teachers use the Find Connection screen is I come here with some idea of what I'm looking for and who I'm looking to match with. And then I can use these filters on the left-hand side. For instance, I can come here and I can select a country. I'm going to scroll down and say that I'm looking for teachers in India. And you can see now that the right-hand side of my screen has repopulated and is now showing me that there's 819 teachers right now in India that have turned on their profile that are ready to connect and engage in cross-classroom collaborations. I can then stack another filter. So I'm going to stack on, I'm going to say I'm a middle school teacher, so I'm going to say I really only want students between the ages of 12 and 14. And that's going to repopulate this side of my screen with teachers. I'm now down to 425 teachers. I could put in language, a class size, a subject. I'm going to come down to interests, and I'm going to say that I'm really interested in having a cultural exchange. You'll see here these are the three main interests that people come to us with, but wanting to have a cultural exchange with another teacher in classroom, language-based, so for language learning or language practice, or a subject-based, for example, a STEM or science exchange. So I'm going to pick cultural exchange. I'm going to click on that, and I'm now down to 45 results. So by stacking these filters on the left-hand side of my screen, I can drill down and get what the educators specifically that I am looking for. Now to find out about more about any of these educators, I simply have to click on their card, and it will pop their profile. So this is a profile of a teacher in India, and you recognize it. I had one when I logged in, so this is her profile. So I can go through here and I can look at the different profiles of different teachers who are available, and I can look for one that looks like it would be a good match for me, somebody that I would like to match with. When I find one, all I need to do is I need to click on the Connect button on the left-hand side of my screen, and that it pops a note here. It will automatically send the note, I'd like to add you to my network, or I can type in a personal message after that if I would like to, and then I send the invite. That invite is then sent, and you will notice it now says pending. So my invitation is pending with that teacher. So I can come back at any time, clear the filters, and search for other educators that I would like to connect with. So another huge motivator on ePals, as I mentioned, is the language-based exchange. So I can come over here, I can click on a language exchange, and then I can say that I would really, my students are, let's say, for example, learning English. And so I would like other classrooms that are willing to practice English language with them. And you can see my results here. Again, let's say I'm teaching middle schoolers. I can narrow that field down until I get the results that I want. I can then connect with them the same way that you just saw by clicking on the Connect button and sending them an invitation. So you know, we have about 50 to 100 teachers who are joining ePals on a daily basis. So the body of teachers that you're able to reach is increasing steadily as our global community grows. Now, I'm making all these connections, and ePals makes it really easy for me to manage this professional network of connections. All I did was I just clicked on my name up here, and I get a new green navigation bar. This is a navigation bar that's appropriate for me. It's specific to me. So if I go over here and click on connections, this is no longer to find connections, but this is going to be about my personal connections. So I click there, and my screen you see here, these are my connections. So I can scroll down and see these are all teachers that I have connected with. So you can see teachers here from Thailand, Japan, Australia, Korea, New Zealand, Turkey, Ghana, all over the world, Uganda. I have made connections with these teachers. So these are all the teachers that I have connected with. I can also see where I have incoming. So these are educators that have come and asked me to connect with them, and I haven't had time yet to review their profiles, but I can open any one of these and see if I would like to connect with them. And if I do, all I have to do is come back and click on the Accept button, and then they will become one of my connections instead of being on my incoming screen. And likewise, I have an outgoing where I can keep track of my outgoing connections. So these are people, you just saw me send an invite to this teacher. So these are teachers who I have sent an invite to and I'm waiting to hear back from. So in this simple way of using Find Connections and then coming to the My Connections tab, I can manage my international professional network. I can make connections with teachers all around the world based upon any set of filters that I define on the main page of who I'm looking for and who I want to make connections with. So after making these connections, naturally the next thing that teachers want to do is they want to communicate. They want to communicate with their connections. So this is our messaging center here, and it works just like any simple email tool. So I can come in and I can see auto-generated messages from the system. So this is an example of one that's showing me that there's a new experience invitation pending. And then I can also see specific emails from other educators who have sent me a message. So this is a teacher in India who's looking at specifically studying different cultures and talking about what she would like to connect and do, and if I'm interested to contact her back. So at any time I can come in and I can compose a new message simply by clicking on the new message pencil. And this is why it's important to connect with other teachers, because unless you've established a connection, you cannot message them. So here I can click and I can come and I can easily message one or multiple of my connections. So it works like any messaging tool. I enter a subject, enter a message, and I can send a message to those people. So this is the messaging tools used again by teachers to communicate with each other, also used by our system to alert you when you have a new experience invitation, which result, and the experiences, which I'll show you in a minute, is the what of it all. What do the classrooms do once they get together? So far I've shown you how teachers use our platform functionalities to connect first, to find other educators around the world, and then how they use that network and they communicate with that network through our safe and secure messaging platform. And now what I'd like to share with you, and I'll spend the bulk of the webinar explaining, is how we enable teachers to now bring their students on board to collaborate. So again, this is the important, now we've done connect, communicate, and now we're going to talk about collaborate. So what to do together. To find that out, you want to come to the Explore Experiences on the top. I'm here in the Explore Experiences section. And what you're looking at right now is a library of cross-classroom project ideas. These are exemplar projects that demonstrate best practices in 21st century collaboration. We've only had the library up now since the middle of January, so there's only a few up here. We plan to continue to add to this, so you want to check back often to see the new experiences that we're adding. But each one of these comes ready with all the necessary resources for 2 or more classrooms to engage in a meaningful exchange. I want you to notice as I scroll down that you'll see some different types here, and I'm going to point out some of the different types. One, our most popular experience right now actually on ePals is School Swap. And this is a language practice experience where students practice their language skills. So the participating teachers decide on what the target language is. So, and then they talk about their schools. So it's pre-populated with a series of discussions about different aspects of school life where you live. Another category besides language practice that we have is cultural exchanges. So here's an example of a cultural exchange project. This is called The Games We Play. And inside of this experience, students read about different types of games around the world. They communicate with each other about the types of games that they play, and then they actually collaborate and create games that they share with each other, and the classrooms on both sides try them out. And then we also have subject-based experiences. Wild Robots is an example of that. That's a STEM project where students are designing robots to navigate in their partner classroom's landscape. So they have to communicate back and forth about where they live, what the type of the landscape is, and then they create robots to navigate there using biomimicry or animal parts, basically, to create their robots. You'll also notice that some of these experiences have an orange corner that says with teacher guide and others do not. That's to differentiate between our kind of extended experiences. These are more in depth in terms of duration and in terms of complexity of the actual interaction. And then the ones that do not have a teacher's guide, that's because they don't need one. You can jump right in there with another teacher and implement that experience with very little work or teacher time outside or classroom time outside of the experience. Do want to give you the heads up that we have a series of literacy experiences on their way in, and those will be based around reading things together and then discussing what you are reading. Also want to point out that many of these are sponsored by us here at ePals, but we also have several that are sponsored by outside organizations, and you'll see more of these coming in the coming months. But for example, Poster Power is sponsored by the Smithsonian Institution, and Taste of Culture is sponsored by McGraw-Hill. So those are partners that have helped us develop the content inside of that experience, and they've infused some of their content, but they're free to use by anyone on the global community. Also really excited that within the next week we're going to be launching a create your own option. What that's going to do is that's going to allow teachers to come in and build their own experience from the ground up, from a blank template. So those user-generated experiences will be moderated before being posted eventually in the library, but it will be really exciting to see our library grow with content that's going to come from within the community, from within the teachers. So let me show you how this all works. As I come in as a teacher, if I'm looking at these different titles and trying to decide which one I would like to do, I can simply click on Learn More on any of these experiences, and that pops an experience preview. So you see here I can read a little bit more of a description of what's going to happen with inside of this project experience. I can also come down and see what are the actual discussions that are going to make up this experience. So I can scroll through and see if I actually want to see. I can pop it and read the different experiences. Once I find one that looks interesting to me and I think, okay, I want to do this, I would like to host this and invite another teacher to join me, I simply click on the Select and Customize button. What that does is that takes me into our experience template, but it's already completed for me. So I already have the title in here, the subject, and I just have to come in and add things like the number of students that I have in my class, and then I have the option to change any of these. So I could put in here school swap, Maryland, and Uganda if I'm doing it with a class or plan to do it with a classroom in Uganda. So I can come through and I can also alter the description, change anything in the description that I would like. I could change the excerpt. I can even change the image associated with this experience. I can add or delete resources from within the experience. So like I said, these come pre-populated with everything you need to complete it. But if there's some things that I decide I don't want in it, I can take them out. And then also I have all the discussions again at the bottom. So I can go through and make sure I want all of these discussions to appear in the experience. There's a checkbox next to them so I can easily turn them off or turn them on to have them appear. Once the experience is actually live, I can add additional discussions and I can always continue to edit the experience. So when I come in, I want to check all of those things. Modify whatever I would like to modify, specify the ages of my students, specify the number that will be participating, and I also want to point out our security settings. You have the option as an educator to turn moderation on or off. The default is that it's on, and that means that you as the teacher will need to moderate all of your students' comments before they appear in the experience space for the other classroom to see. You can turn it off, and then students' comments will appear in real time. So you as the host, as the teacher, have the option to turn that on or off. And keep in mind again that once we launch Create Your Own next week, you will also have the option here to have just a blank template and create your experience from the ground up. So once you've gone through here and you've modified whatever you want to modify, or you can leave it as designed, you would click on the Next button. If you're clicking on the Next button and nothing is happening, that means that you've missed something. So for example, you can see here it just popped up a message for me in red showing me you forgot to put the duration in. There's no start and end dates. So I need to do that before it will let me move on to inviting other teachers and then eventually adding my students into the experience. So all of this must be completed before I invite other teachers or students to join me. I then click on Next, and that's going to take me to the invite screen. So you'll recognize these faces on the left-hand side of my screen. These are my connections. So I can scroll through my connections and determine who I would like to invite to join me in this experience. This is again why it's important to develop this professional network within our platform, because these are the people then that you choose from when you create an experience. So I come through, I choose a connection that I would like to add, and then I just click Add, and it moves him over to the invite list. I can scroll through, and if there's another teacher that I would like to add, I simply have to click on them and add them. So I can send a group invite to as many or as few teachers as I would like to add to my experience. So I'm going to go ahead and click on Send Invite. And those users will get a message now in their message box telling them that they've been invited by me to join me inside of that experience. So what I want to show you right now is a live experience. Right now I am on the Experiences tab, My Experiences. Remember, this green bar is all stuff specific to me as a user. So I am in the My Experiences page. These are all experiences that I have launched with other teachers or that are currently pending. That means I'm awaiting their response to see if they're going to accept my invitation. So I'm going to come down and I'm going to hop into this available Wild Robots experience to show you what it looks like when you're inside of an experience space with students with the pre-populated content. All right, so what you're looking at right here is the discrete instance of one collaborative experience. So this is Wild Robots. I explained a little bit before. It's an experience where students progress through a series of steps where they're going to design their own robot that reflects the concept of biomimicry. And when you launch any of our pre-populated experiences, these discussion boards are already built, as I explained earlier. So I can scroll down here and I can see that we have a welcome bubble. Here's where we're going to meet our partner class. This bubble is populated with a short video to get students inspired. Then they're going to be reading a series of articles about robots and sharing what inspired the scientists in those articles. So they move down and they progress through this series of prompts. Again, it's pre-populated when you come into one, when you choose one out of our library. And then you as the host teacher have the ability to edit any of these that you would like. So that's what you see on the left-hand side of your, or on the right-hand side of your screen, sorry. On the left-hand side of your screen, there's some other really interesting features that we have. The first one I want you to see over here is the participant drawer. So you can see that the heads are highlighted here at the bottom. So this shows you everyone who is inside of this experience. You see that I'm here as the host teacher and I'm in the space live right now, which is why you see this little green light lit up. These are my students that I've added to the experience. And then this is the teacher that I invited in. I invited in teacher Bonnie, and she has not added her students yet, but once she does, they will appear here underneath her name. So this is the participant tab. Really exciting, really engaging for students to see who else is involved in this experience and are they present physically in this space right now based on that green light. As I'm going down here, you're seeing that this little speech bubble pop up here. That's related to our private messaging feature. So within an experience, a teacher can private message any other teacher or any of their students. And to do that, all you have to do is go to that person and click on the private message. I can then compose a private message to that other individual. I can also do it to the other teacher within the experience. I also have this drawer over here where I can come to at any time and I can check my private messages. I've read all these. If I hadn't read them, there would be a little blue corner up in the corner showing you that those were unread private messages. So at any time I can, as a student or a teacher, I can check the presence of who's involved in my experience. I can see who's live and I can private message anyone. The default is that students are not allowed to private message other students. This is for safety so that all student-to-student discussion occurs over here on the right-hand side of the screen on the public side of the screen. The third drawer you'll notice over here on the left-hand side is the information drawer. This is where I can come at any time and I can again read what this project is about, the subject that it's focusing on, and I can see all of the project resources. This project resources here is role-based, which means that there will be some things over here for teachers that students will not be able to see. For example, here I have the teacher guide for this experience, so I'm going to pop that so you can see it. Like I said, many of our experiences have teacher guides. These teacher guides walk you through an instructional outline, recommendations for pacing, and then they show what students see inside of each of those bubbles over here on the left. And then teacher notes on the right, or our recommendations for how to implement these bubbles within your classrooms. Some of them are management tips, some of them are more pedagogical, instructional, to enrich the experience. So you can go through as a teacher and you can see the recommendations for how to group them and how to manage this experience. So that's one example of something that teachers can see in their information drawer would be the teacher guide. So let's look back again at the right-hand side of the screen. There's a few features that I want to point out. First of all, for any of these experiences, as we build these discussion bubbles or as teachers build them themselves by using this Add Discussion button in the upper right-hand corner, you can populate the discussion with text, but you can also add in things such as video. You can also add in PDF resources, you can add in Word documents, and you can add in images. In this way, you can create a really rich discussion prompt, and you can provide with it any of the stimuli that you need to make sure that the students are going to engage in a rich discussion. So rather than just asking them, what do you already know about robots, here we've embedded a video that's about robot design through biomimicry that we have students watch and then add their comments. So very easy for teachers to come in, add new discussions, add whatever sorts of prompts they want. For a student who wants to come in and respond to any of these, or a teacher, they simply go into the discussion board, and you can see down here at the bottom that I can add in any text that I would like to post. So I can say, hi, my name is Mrs. Woodside. Welcome to this experience. You see down here that I have the ability to select any files or drag and drop them from my computer that I want to add to that. And then I simply add my comment, and it's now populated in here. Since I'm a teacher, my comment did not need to be moderated. It just appears. If this student comment hadn't already been approved, you would see the moderation buttons here, and that would say to either accept or send back that comment to the student for revision. So you can see how you can create a rich experience here with a series of discussion prompts that you can populate with whatever types of educational resources you want to guide the discussion. One more that I want to point out here is that a lot of our experiences that we've created for you in the Experience Library will come pre-populated with some of our Cricut Media content. So we're really fortunate that Cricut Media has 14 magazines that range in readability and range in content, and we have 40 years of that content that we're putting into these experiences. So for example, in this one, you can see some articles here at different reading levels that students are able to access. They're able to come in and they can read through these articles to help them get information about designing their own robot based on biomimicry. And you can see as I'm scrolling through that these articles are at different, slightly different reading levels, slightly different formats, so that students have a choice about what they read as they go in. So as a teacher, if you were designing your own experience, you would be able to populate it with whatever types of content you want. We have many of ours pre-populated with our special Cricut Media content you'll find inside. So I think that gives you a pretty good overview here of what you will find inside the experience space. You can always see who is here. You can communicate privately with them. You can also communicate publicly through a series of prompts. You can choose a pre-populated experience that will come already stacked with all of these things ready to go, or you can come and create your own in a few weeks, which will be on a blank template, and then you can come in and add discussions at any time. Again, if I wanted to add a discussion, I simply clicked on that add discussion, and I can add in any title and prompt that I want, and it will then add to the bottom in my discussion space. So if you see students are really interested in a certain part of the project, a certain part of the experience, you do have the ability to come in and post a new discussion to push further resources to them or let them further engage on that topic. So that is the summary of how teachers come into ePals and how they use our platform, again, for those three main purposes. They come in to first connect, so to use our filters to come through and to find different teachers all around the world and to build their professional network. Then they use us to communicate with each other through our messaging tool. And then finally, they use us for those collaborations. So they come in and they can choose an experience that we've already created. They can customize it through that template that you saw in any way that they would like to. And then they invite other teachers in. I just realized that one thing, a very important thing that I forgot to show you, was how to add students. So I'm actually going to go back in because this is really obviously a critical part of these experiences. So let me jump back in. I just want to show you how easy it is to create student accounts. So when you log on and you want to add your students with an experience, you simply come on and you click on the plus button, and you will get a screen very similar to what we saw for inviting teachers into an experience. but this is how you invite students. So any students that you have already registered from a past experience, it works the same way. I can simply click on them, and then I can add them over to the invite list. If I'm logging on to ePals and my students do not have ePals accounts yet, and I need to add them both as a participant to this specific experience, but also as an ePals user, this is where you do it. So once you're inside the experience, you will come in here and you will search for a student name. So let's say I'm coming in and I need to add a student. I can come in and I can add a student name and search for it. It's going to come and say, okay, we already have these two possible matches on our platform. Are either of these your students? Oh, nope, these are not my students. So I want to create a new account. So I then click on create a new account, and my cookies are filling this in here, but you will create a username and you will create a password. You will enter the student's first name, last name, date of birth, and their country, and then you can create an account for them. So I will show you here. Let's say I am making one for Charlie Jones. I need to enter that student's birth date. I'm going to say he was born in 2003. We'll make it C. Jones. Another word of caution, as you create these student passwords, very important for you to make note of them as an educator. Keep a list of them because they're not retrievable after you create them at this point. They are changeable, so you can go ahead and change student passwords, but easiest if as you're creating them, you just create a list of the passwords that you're giving, or give everyone in your class the same password. So I simply do that. So I have Charlie Jones, I want it to be C. Jones, and I create a user account. So an account for Charlie Jones has successfully been created, and he's now on my invite list. So this is the process that you go through right now when you want students to join ePals and to be involved in an international collaboration in one of these cross-classroom collaborations. Coming within the next year, we have several exciting features. I'll give you just a couple of previews of what is coming within our platform. One of the things that will be coming is that we are going to allow students sign up by themselves. So right now, the only way that students get into our platform is the way that you just saw, through a teacher signing them up within an experience. Later this year, we will have the ability for students to come in, sign up by themselves, and we will have experiences available for them to jump into without having to have their teacher here, but we'll have virtual teachers in those classrooms leading experiences that students can just jump in and try. Another exciting thing that's coming is we're going to be enhancing greatly our Explore Experiences library. So right now you see this selection of 9, pretty easy to peruse and decide which one you want to do. As we add experiences in here, we're also going to be adding the capability to sort and filter through these experiences. So just as on Find Connections, I was able to search based on age or subject. When I come into the Explore Experience library, our enhanced library will also allow you to come in and search for experiences based on things such as age, such as subject, as whether they're the duration of the experience. So that's another enhancement that will be coming from within our community here. So I hope you have enjoyed this tour of our space. Again, eager to see you in the space and eager to connect with you. So when you log in, my username is Laura W. Feel free to connect with me when you come in, and you can search for me by keyword, search by US, and drill down there and find me. I'm going to jump back over now to our PowerPoint deck and just wrap it up over here. So let me jump back here, and I do want to show you this last slide. So I just want to reiterate here what we saw in the online demo. We all know that it's really critical that our students get opportunities to connect beyond their own geographical constraints and interact meaningfully around global challenges in a collaborative environment. So that's what you're seeing on your screen right now, are just some facts about what our ePals experiences do. We really take a serious look at different shared global challenges. You'll see this one in particular is on poverty. And then we also give them opportunities for global collaboration in different fields. So each of our experiences, if you go in, you will see that they do contain provocative thinking questions to stimulate critical thinking. We ask students to do research. We provide them with the rich student-friendly content already there. We really promote the dialogue, and we encourage students to take positions on global issues. The final slide here to wrap it up is to show you a couple of things. First, this is my contact information as well as my colleague Charles. I'm going to turn it over to him in a minute. But I also wanted to let you know we have a wonderful user support team that they're eager to hear from you, feedback or questions at support@epals.com. And we also have a global community management guide. This is published on our site in the support section, and that really can take you through what I've shown you, but even at a really detailed level. We'll show you how to use all the different pieces and parts of the community to build experiences, to connect, to message other teachers. So I want to thank you for joining us here. Charles is making the polls visible on your screen. So please take a moment to answer both questions before leaving. And we thank you for joining us for our ePals Global Community demo today. We hope that you are walking away eager to connect with other classrooms around the world. And we here at ePals are here to support you as you begin this global journey. Thank you.